when I was young, I had examples like singers to look up to. Nellie du Toit, Mimi Kootse. I mean, you could name all of them. And I think the youngsters today don't have that. They don't have as many, except now for Pretty Yende and all of those that you daily hear of and see live. I don't think there's enough people that we could look up to and you know, and just understand the art a little bit better.
Good morning, Hanlee. It's so great to meet you here on Zoom.
Hello, Petra. It's lovely to meet you as well.
So where are you based at the moment?
I am in Johannesburg, in Sunninghill. This is where I'm based for now.
Are you originally from Johannesburg?
No, I'm not. I'm actually, funny enough, I was born in Malmesbury, as they call it in Afrikaans, Swartland.
Really?
Although I don't have the typical Afrikaans begrijp. From that region, of the country. But I was born there on a farm, and my family was also very musical, and I was lucky to have a father that was an opera singer and an uncle that was a pianist. So I had the culture and the nature on my side. So that was quite an interesting, time for me to grow up as a person, an adult, with all of these things surrounding me.
And it's lucky that you had that, because sometimes people who grow up in the countryside, they don't have all those advantages or the possibilities, of some, or even just the exposure of the opera and hearing the music. So how wonderful that you had, that you grew up in that environment.
Yeah, I was very fortunate because, we're 4 siblings, and my older sister and brother, they were more fortunate to actually been in operas where my dad was singing. And the farm was about 60 kilometers from Cape Town. So he used to drive in and have rehearsals there. And then he went and do his opera and whatever at the little theatre. And I don't know what also at the College of Music. And I, excuse it when my dogs are barking. But,
so I can't hear them, so that's fine.
No, she's an Afrikaner, so she's always busy. But anyway, so I grew up with the opera Tosca, for instance. The Italian, the music on your ear, I think it plays a big role when you grow up with a certain kind of music. It's like your ear gets used to that kind of sound. But opera is so intense, and it's something that, I don't know, it just goes deeper than anything else. Emotionally, it's something that you need to feel from within yourself. And anyway, so that was also where my thing for Italians came from. I love the Italian culture, and I love the language, and also because you sing in Italian. Italian's easier to sing, probably better than most languages, because it's a typical A, E, I, O, U. It's very forward, and So that was basically where I came from.
So did you get singing lessons originally from your dad?
No. My uncle used to accompany Nellie du Toit and Gey Korsten. His name was Albie Louw. And he was quite a legend in the music industry. Pianist, jazz, classical, anything, you name it, brilliant. So Albie said, because there was a voice ever since I was born. My brother used to say that I used to copy the birds.
Really?
because the voice is very high. I'm a typical coloratura soprano. I will explain to you just now what that means. But so Albie said the only person that he can think of that I should start lessons with is Nellie du Toit. And thank God for him, because she was my mentor for, I started between the ages of 17 and 18, 17, 18 years of age, the end of my school year, which I also think it's a normal time for a singer and with a classical voice to start training at that age. The voice is more mature, or it's starting to mature. Just for interesting sake, a woman's voice only mature when she's 45. It's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. But did
So
you sing in a choir, or was there any other music lessons that you did as a child?
I never had any singing lessons as such. During my school year, we had a youth choir, and I was the soloist there. So the voice was a natural voice that was just there, which is good. And then that's how you normally find out that you can actually sing something classical. And I'm totally classical. I can't. I wish I could sing something like a jazz, because I have. There are singers that can swap between the two. Definitely not. I always sound classical. I can sing lighter stuff, but it will always have a classical tone. But I was very fortunate that I had the opportunity to study with Nellie du Toit. She's probably one of the best people to work with, because she understands the voice so well, and she knows how to correct problems and give you the right exercises to correct that specific problem. And that is what is, for me now, it helps me a lot, because I can help other people in that sense with their voices. And it's just something that if you start doing it from that age, and you are so long with one person, which is a good thing, you're not falling around. You learn specifically from one person how things work. It's not a different language that you every time have to hear in your ear.
Well, I know here from the music university, from the students that I spoke to here, also that young students, they actually move from city to city or from country to country just to be with a specific teacher, where they feel that connection with the teacher. So and you're also saying that how important it is for somebody to understand, and also exactly this connection that you had with her.
Yes, exactly. Nellie, for instance, she was in Stellenbosch, where I started with her. And then I won a bursary from the Friends of the Opera, and I had to go to UCT to study for 4 years. And Nellie then, she came to UCT as well, because I think they approached her as well, and she made the decision, also because she wanted to carry on, obviously, with what we were doing. And if I had to change from Nellie to somebody else, it would have been completely confusing and uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And especially the kind of voice as a coloratura, was a light, flexible, sweet tone, lots of staccato, agility, that this voice consists of, and also the height. And unfortunately, and fortunate for me, I was born with this very, very, very high voice that would stretch over 3 octaves, as I call it, C7. That is above top C, almost to the next C, which was my highest note was a B flat. And that was just a story very interesting in the College of Music, where I was sitting and I'm warming my voice up, and a professor walked in and he said, "Listen, we have a meeting next door. Please, can you tell me what note you've just sung?" So I went,
really?
And I went, "Oh shit, that's actually what I did." So yeah, that was naturally there. And for somebody that don't understand voices like that, would not be able to help, because you have your chest register, your middle register, and your head register. And my voice from where middle says, the F above, I had no notes down there because I couldn't sing low. And that was a challenge for Nellie as well, to be able to even the whole voice, the whole thing out, from the lowest to the highest. Keep the color of the voice correct, because there were 3 different colors. Like I sound like this here in the lower part, and then like that in the middle, and then in the top it's like I'm floating and I'm in my safe place.
Really?
So it took a long time to get to that. And then obviously I'm older now, so the voices also became a little bit more heavier, and I still have the tops, and I still need to sit. I can sit and work on it now because I don't, I have the time to do it.
So do you still do you have still a very strict sort of routine in practicing and singing?
No, unfortunately not. I had a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, that came in. I was doing Phantom of the Opera, and we did the world tour, and the restaurant came up. And funny enough, I don't know how it happened, because I always wanted to go into the wine direction. I was very interested in wine, and I did my wine course at the Cape Town Wine Academy, and they were selling this quaint, authentic Italian restaurant, and I bought the place. So that obviously then changed my whole life around. I did my music evenings there, but it was very stressful for me being in the kitchen and then had to come out and sing, and not having the time really to work on my voice, because that is, when you're a singer, you very, very, what is the word? You have a routine, and you have to stick to that. And it's like waking up in the morning and you start working on your voice for a while. You can't work on the voice for 2 hours or what more, but it's disciplined. That's the word that I was looking for. So not going to bed too late, and not having parties. Not that I grew up with that so much. I always had this strict way of for myself, because of a singer that I grew up with. So unfortunately that fell away. And I haven't been really that, I didn't concentrate on my voice and my technique as much. So now I can sit and I can go back and look at stuff, and I've got millions of recordings of my lessons with Nellie as well that I can go to and refer to. But the voice is still there, and just it needs a little bit of polishing.
Oh, okay. But the voice is, yeah, but the voice is also, for singers, it's also a bit tricky, because what I've heard also from other singers is it's not plain sailing every day. It's sometimes your mood, or what you did last night, or, you have a cold, or something in your body that affects the voice.
That's a true story, because you are not a violinist. You don't carry your instrument in a box. It's part of your body. If you get affected, or you emotionally down, it affects you. If you have a bad day, it's all of those kind of things that would really affect you. Or your voice is today not feeling wonderful, and especially women, with our cycles and stuff that we had to deal with. When it's that time, then it's the voice changes. It's difficult to sing, and some contracts they stipulate when, if I may say, the period or whatever comes, then the voice changes, which is something that you have to learn how to deal with. And it's very difficult to work when you're under emotional pressure or stress, or you've lost somebody dear to your heart. To separate your emotions from your singing is hard, but you can do that. You learn how to do that and to handle it. But it's really very true that it's not always smooth sailing, and especially in musical theatre, so different that you sing every single day. And then Saturdays and Sundays, you've got back-to-back shows where you just have to be ready, and you have to just take care of yourself. And be fit as well. Fitness is something that you don't underestimate, the fact that you shouldn't be fit because you need to be able to fit, not just vocally, but also physically. It's something that's very important for any singer to keep their physical fitness. And obviously also it's two muscles that you're working with. So those things need to be also worked in the proper way and in the correct way. So yeah, definitely.
Do you think people realize this when they, because you hear singers, sometimes it's like my daughter was a ballet dancer, and people would sometimes just out of the blue ask her to say do this, and they don't realize you had to warm up, and you have to, it's not just like, oh, I can do, I can just be there and just be doing it.
Yeah, no, that's it's funny that you bring that up, because it's also not just that. I mean, I can imagine a ballet dancer even worse than anything else, a singer as well, because they physically are using muscles that they can tear or hurt or sprain an ankle or whatever if they're not warmed up properly. But a singer, it's also, I have so many times that they say, oh, you're a singer, you sing us something. No, I'm not in the mood, and it's not the right time. I can sing. I may sing, because it's funny enough, if you are in practice and you use your voice often, you don't have to warm up for hours and hours. If you have the right place and it's good, then then you can go. But is it the right time? Do you really feel like it? I don't want to stand there and sing just words. If I sing to somebody, I would like to make it meaningful and whatever the story is. That's really annoying sometimes. People don't understand. They really do not have any clue. So you just say no, maybe another time or whatever.
Come to my concert.
Come to my concert. Pay money for what I've paid for. Nothing is for free.
Exactly. But South Africa is kind of known for the best singers, and if internationally you always hear, and I've also spoken to a few South African opera singers who came to Europe and sing. And wonderful, you also went to Italy to sing.
Yeah, I went to Italy because, first of all, I was a little bit in Germany with a friend of mine that's also South African that's made a fantastic career there, Michel Breed. And then I went to Venice for a reason. I wanted to learn, to study bel canto, to just work on the legato side of the voice, and also then ended up with Professor Randolph Michelson, who was a musicologist. And the reason, that was my main reason why I went there. So he lived in this huge palace in Venice on the Canal Grande. And we basically went there every day. For instance, it's very interesting. He translated the Garcia technique from French into English. He's a very brilliant man. He couldn't sing a note, promise you. But he was a very, very good teacher. Same, if I didn't have Nellie giving me that foundation, I don't think I would have been able to work with somebody like that. It was another language, but it's the same story. It's the same principle. It was very interesting, and that was the main reason why I then went to Venice. And from there, I did a few things around Venice, in Vienna, and also in Italy itself. And I went to New York, and but always learning. You can never stop. I mean, there's always something new. So basically, I was in Venice for about 9 years, and then came back to South Africa in 2004, and then went straight into Phantom of the Opera, and that's where I went to the musical side, musical theatre. But there are a lot of good voices in South Africa. Look at Pretty Yende. She's doing fantastically, and what a beautiful voice. And so is her sister. There are quite a few that's now overseas, and it's better for them there because the arts in South Africa is not really doing fantastically. It's not, it's not their first priority, first of all, so.
Yeah, and isn't it a shame, because there's, like you said, all the talent is actually leaving, and it can be that South Africa can have this wonderful opportunity for people if the theatres were there and if the possibility were there and the audiences as well.
Well, Peter Turin is one of our biggest producers in South Africa. The theatre on the bay in Cape Town, he built a special section on top of this building. It's called Lambda, and they specifically concentrate on youngsters to teach them to sing and to dance and to perform. And they've done a few shows already, and they're excellent. They're brilliant, because he himself said that, the one thing that lacks is the proper training for the youngsters to get somewhere. And it's sometimes embarrassing, because you look at singers. I sit in the theatre and I look at people and I go, yeah, I wish I could just give you a few pointers there.
Yeah.
I got no clue, and lose their voices maybe soon in their career because of bad singing and too many or too much of it. So he's done a hell of a great thing, and with these youngsters at Theatre on the Bay in the studio, and it's two friends of mine that are doing this. They brilliant. The one is a choreographer, the other one is a director, and they work brilliantly together, Dwayne and Anton. So, yeah, this is what we need. This is what we need. We need some good teachers, people that understand voices, that know what to say, and know how to help when there's a problem to correct it with something else. Because no use I say, you're doing something wrong, but I can't tell you what or help you to correct it.
Yeah.
So
I always think that teaching young people to any form of art, they don't necessarily have to become artists or have to make a living of it, but you also educate the audience of the future. Because somebody who knows, like you say, you grew up with opera, there are a lot of people who have never heard or never been to an opera or never heard the music. So in a way, it's part of the education to get these young people to hear the music and to be exposed to these different forms of art.
Yeah, that's very true. And I do see more and more youngsters, going to the theatre and maybe want to go into that direction. To train an audience, that people will always go to what they think they like and they want to see. You can't force anybody to go and see an opera if you're not really that. Yeah, there are people that just take to it like that. Just how it is, and there's others that have no inclination, no clue, no nothing to want to see it, no urge to actually go and sit and listen or give classical music a chance.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the youngsters definitely, there are more and more that really want to do something in that line, and they just need help. They need proper people to help them to move forward.
So you also teach singing?
Yes, I used to do more. It stopped because it was just taking lots of my time. But now I've given myself out again as a vocal coach. I've helped some celebs, and I also have a young student that came to me that couldn't sing at all, that wanted to sing, but also the ear couldn't hear. And you have to know how to get that person to be able to hear what's going on around her and not just sing, and teach them basically from scratch. So that takes something else than if you're coaching. You can take a singer that's already been there and maybe just help them, correct a few things. but they are singers. They are a singers already. They are a singer already. So that makes it a little bit easier than to start with somebody from scratch. But then you need to know exactly what you're doing. How to. And after a few lessons, you sort of get to the point where you understand the voice better, and also the person. You need to see if that person can understand your language. If they don't know what I'm saying or can't, do what I'm asking them to do, then it's no point. Then I would say, no, I'm sorry, you can't do anything about that. So yes, I am available, and take it. My life is taking a big, a different road now. So we'll see where it leads to eventually.
But do you think we all inherently can sing? It's just that we have been sort of conditioned that we're not, that people would say, oh, I'm not a singer. But do you think we are physically
we lost connection there.
Oh. Are you back?
Yeah. Can you repeat that for me, please? Yeah. Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you think we are all inherently we can sing, or do you think we have been conditioned to believe we can't sing? That people would sometimes say, oh, I can't sing. But like you say, you get a student there that hasn't had any training and that want to. Is it something that you have to want to do to be able to sing?
I would say, first of all, you need to have a voice, and then you need to have a voice. You need to have a voice, and then an ear. You need to have the ear for music, if you know what I'm saying. You need to be able, if I say this is C and I play it, you sing it. Then, that's one thing. You can teach people that, like this young girl, she's got, first of all, I knew that there's a voice. Otherwise, I would not have been interested. And the minute I started working on her voice and on her ear, she was improving. It was a lesson for me as well, and something that it was a challenge. And I was very surprised that it actually is possible that you can help somebody. Yes, you can say you can't sing, but there are people that really can't sing because they can't keep a note, and then it's no use. There are people that might have fantastic voices, but they can't stay on the same note. They sing false. They sing off pitch. So there's different situations that you sometimes have to deal with.
But I want to talk to you about Amore Becker now, because she told me about you, and she said that she's so fortunate to have you as a voice teacher for her, because she's practicing for her upcoming show.
A one-woman show, yes, but wine. Funny enough, when we started talking, because wine is my big thing as well, but I'm more into the more technical side of the wine, where she's just telling a story, which is actually quite nice. But yeah, Amore, she's fun and a lot of laughs. And she said to me, Hanlee, I'm not a singer, but I need to learn one piece that I can sing in my one-man show, one-woman show. And I said, well, let's see. And I think we're getting there.
Oh, really?
We definitely are. We definitely are getting there. And she understood the principle. So I had to remind her again when I saw her, because she's very busy and we can't have it like every now. It's more regular than before. But yeah, I know we're getting there, and it is also quite a challenge to know that she will be fine.
But she's got such a great personality. I mean, it was such a great interview that I did with her. She was talking, and I was thinking, amazing. I would love to see that show. And of course, now I would love to hear her sing after you told me that. You've been
Well, with
working with
playing
it.
a few things, you know what you can sometimes you can change if that it depends on the lyrics and the music. Then you can say talk that instead of sing it
Oh, yeah.
because it's very you have to have the ear to know when the notes are very close to each other. So if you don't get that, then it makes it more difficult. And then rather say it like say the words instead of putting a melody. Let the melody play, but you talk.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there are ways to do certain things. Or with emotion, it's like I also I was helping Anal Alexander, who's an actress. And they're doing Semisut, the musical now at the AfriForum.
Oh,
I
I
don't know.
heard, yeah.
So Anna also came to me, but she could sing a bit. She used to sing in a choir before, but she's an actress. She's a brilliant actress. And the time when she walked in and the time when she walked out, she was 100%. She felt
Really?
comfortable, and it's small little things. Sometimes you don't have to go all the way to Europe and back.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
little steps, little thingies. But you need to be able to hear that as a teacher to be able to help that person. So yeah, the voice is it's a complicated thing, but it's also singing should be easy and not difficult. The minute that you strain, it's wrong. It
And
should
like
never
you
be.
say, also it actually protects the voice, to do it in the right way.
Of course, you never sing onto the chords. That's where the diaphragm and your breathing comes in, because air makes sound, and I work a lot on taking the as I call it, the crutches away, where people use their throat to support instead of their diaphragm or their body, and it's a low breathing, and then also teaching them to use their head register, which is every singer should be able to know what that is and how to use it and how to mix it. When you go up in a scale, you leave the heavy voice behind and you take the lightness up, but there need to be an anchor, a basis for every single note that you sing. So it goes deeper than just that. It's and like I said, I've learned all this time that I've been singing since I was 18 up till now. I'm still learning.
Really?
It's a never-ending story. And the more you teach, the more you actually learn. You teach yourself stuff that comes up, and I went like, oh, I never thought of that for a while. It's
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, that I hear quite a lot from musicians also who teach. That they say they learn actually from teaching. From teaching somebody else.
And that's what my teacher Nellie, or my mentor Nellie du Toit, also used to say to me many a time. She said she learns herself.
Really?
She teaches, but there's stuff that she then realized, oh, okay, but you can do it like this, or you can do it like that, or this is another way to approach it. It always will come up. It's a pity that, when I was young, I had examples like singers to look up to. Nellie du Toit, Mimi Coetzee. I mean, you could name all of them. And I think the youngsters today don't have that. They don't have as many, except now for Pretty Henley and all of those that you daily hear of and see live. I don't think there's enough people that we could look up to and just understand the art a little bit better.
Yeah, and you also need those more experienced singers for young singers coming up to be together in a production, because that's also what I hear from young singers, where they get to sing with older singers, where you actually learn from them during a production.
Yes, exactly. That's very true. But then you need to listen, and you need to know that you can actually pick up some stuff, and maybe, but then they need to be singers already and need to know what's going on to be able to um, adapt to that or use it to their own benefit. Yeah.
And Hanlee, what are now the wishes for you for the future? What is the dream?
This whole thing with the restaurant is it's just fresh and still fresh, and there's a lot of things that are happening at the same time. Obviously, there are a lot of people that want, more singing, more teaching. Maybe, I don't know if I want to go into still the hospitality in this, but this time with wine and music and food. That's what my idea was before. But I'm letting life show me which way. That's the only thing, because anything can happen. I mean, like I said, I'm not sure. I definitely will be there for people who wants to train their voices or learn about their own voices. That's one thing. But for me, in the future, I don't know yet. It's not clear what I'm going to do. But I would love to combine the singing with my wine experience, because I think it's a culture. The wines, every wine tells a story, and we've got such great wines in South Africa. So, and it makes me happy to be around people and to see them happy. So I'm definitely a people's person, and I need to go. I think I need to go into something, with people, and where I can bring some happiness. And this is what everybody now, lately, or now after COVID, we need that.
Exactly.
They need a place to go to where you could sit and have your own thoughts and enjoy your moment there, and forget about everything, finances and stress at home, or whatever the story might be. So that's my thing.
But I loved what you did in the restaurant, singing, that you also performed in the restaurant, because I think sometimes it's, you sometimes hear people say, I heard this music for the first time, and then it's in a very informal environment, not necessarily a concert hall, and that connection that they then make with the music leads them to go to the concert hall.
Well, I've had one, there was not this one, but a few times where I had, with my music night there, people that has never been there, that they didn't know, had no clue what to expect. They thought it was karaoke or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And you see their faces when we start singing, because everybody was professional that sang there, in my Hanlee and friends. And this one man came to me afterwards, but he was in tears. He says to me, Hanlee, I've never, ever experienced anything like this. And it's so intimate there that it makes it even more, I don't know if I could use the word emotional, but it's attractive, because it's something that draws you in. And okay, the singers were also great. So, you can't do it with just any old singer, and
Yeah.
that will do nothing. But the minute we started singing, people are just, they in awe. And they followed these nights for all 12 years that I was there,
Really?
all the time. And then I used to bring in PJ Powers. She came, and Jonathan Rocksmith, who I did Phantom with, he had been there, I don't know how many times. And he just filled the restaurant we used to have 4 nights in a row just with Jonathan there. Andre Swatch, they're all people that I had connections with. And bringing that in, and then I did my wine tastings as well. And I did whiskey tastings, and I brought in fantastic glasses for wine, the Riedel glasses that tells a story, sort of to make it interesting. But that combination with the singing and the wine and the food, and Bosco had fantastic food. I mean, it was almost an institution. It's very sad that it had to go, but it was the circumstances, and unfortunately, that's life.
Yeah.
No guarantees in life, eh?
Exactly. Well, it's you brought together actually all different forms of art in your setting, and because I also spoke to winemakers, because I also believe that's a form of art, and like you say, the restaurant, the food, it's you had a hub of art going on there, it seems.
Yeah, and I feel like it might be a similar thing coming up, maybe in that direction, because I have got a lot to give in that, and all of it. And I've also built up quite a following here in Sunninghill with Bosco, which is a good thing. Yeah. So, but like I said to you before, I believe my path is already there. It's the next step is already there, and I need to just be patient and wait for the next step. But I know in my heart that this is what I want to give to people. I want to see people happy. And I feel happy when I do that, and when I see that. And who doesn't want to have that?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great. But yeah, thank you for seeing that.
Yeah.
And understanding that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think and I think it's amazing that you want to give back, and that I think that's so important, because there's, we don't have the theaters in South Africa, but it's people like you who bring people to the arts, or invite people to the arts.
I love to bring people together. As they say in Afrikaans, ek maak mense by mekaar. So yeah,
that's beautiful.
It's part of my personality. It's always been like that. So yeah, that is
amazing. But Hanlee, thank you so much for your time. This was so amazing to talk to you. When I looked at everything you did and are still doing, I thought to myself, what a great story. What a wonderful story. And this is a wonderful story, from the farm to Johannesburg to Italy, and doing all these different things.
But thank you so much, Petra. And thank you for what you are doing as well, with exposing people to the world.
Great pleasure.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for thinking of me. And yeah, it was lovely talking to you.
It's
I hope to meet you in person sometime.
Yeah, definitely. With your next venture, I'll be there.
Okay, cool. I'll remember that. Okay.